Good morning and welcome to the November 5th regular Board of County Commissioners meeting. Every meeting we do begin with an invocation, and this morning we have Raymond Pettit from Outside the Gates Worship Center. We invite you to join us.
Good morning, Commissioner. Let us bow in your own way. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful morning that you've given to us. Here we stand on the eve of Election Day, and I just pray that your will would be accomplished in each of the races that are going on. But Father, I pray mostly for the peace of God, which passes all understanding, Lord, so that we would not come against each other, but that we would still continue to love God and love one another. We also thank you, Father, for the opportunity to be able to celebrate this week veterans who have served their country, who have done, some of them, the ultimate task, Father. But for those who have come home and they're scarred, I just pray that you would just give them the peace that only comes from you. And I pray also, Father, for the agenda that's on this today, that you would just minister to each and every one of them, that no one would be upset, but that they would recognize that you're in charge. I just praise you because I know, God, you are the ability in each of our lives. And sometimes, Father, we lose the availability because we've lost sight of who you are. I pray that we would be mindful of you in everything that we say and do. And I pray that we would just love God and love one another. Help us to bring peace one to another, and help us this day make sure that we do your will in everything that we say and do. We ask it in your precious Son's name. Amen.
Mr. Lewis, would you mind me putting you on the spot to come forward to the podium and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Item 3.
Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item 4.
Item number 4 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I'm aware of a few changes to today's agenda. Item number 5J will be considered under item number 10, and item number 10 will be considered after item number 5. We do have a request to continue item number 5B33 to December 10th, and that will require a motion. The next meeting will be Tuesday, November 12th at 9:00 a.m.
Okay, so as was stated, we do need a motion to continue item 5B33. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bremer.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Item 5.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar, including items 5A1 through 5K2, and with the exception of item number 5J and 5B33, which was continued to December 10th.
Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on an item on the consent calendar? Okay, hearing none, I will take a motion.
Well, I just wanted to state, apparently the assessor is feeling lonely because the clerk is getting all the press this week. So I will move the consent calendar items 5A1 through 5K2, but we have removed from the agenda items 5J and 5B33, which has been continued to another date.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded, and I will call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bremer.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. And we will hear item 10 as was stated in the changes.
Item number 10 is the called up consent calendar, which includes item number 5J, a proclamation recognizing law enforcement records personnel for week for 2024. Lajinhos Gonzalez Jr., Commissioner, Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve a proclamation recognizing Law Enforcement Records Personnel Week 2024. Whereas dedicated law enforcement records personnel serve the citizens of El Paso County to provide them with vital services, and whereas law enforcement records personnel are crucial in assisting law enforcement agencies to identify, pursue, capture, and process suspects, and whereas these professionals continually use their expertise and experience in maintaining criminal justice statistics and improving apprehension strategies, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff law enforcement records is materially influenced by their attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform, and whereas law enforcement records personnel serving El Paso County have exhibited professionalism, efficiency, and compassion during the performance of their essential duties during the past year, and whereas the state of Colorado has designated the period of time between November 4 and November 8, 2024 to recognize law enforcement records personnel. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado hereby recognizes the week of November 4, 2024 through November 8, 2024 as Law Enforcement Records Personnel Week. Done this 5th day of November 2024 in Colorado Springs, Colorado, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, signed Carrie Geithner, Chair, Cami Bremer, Vice Chair, Lojinos Gonzalez Jr., Stan Vanderwerf, Holly Williams, members, and attested to by Steve Schleicher, the County Clerk and Recorder.
Second.
Okay, that has been moved and seconded. Do we have someone from the Sheriff's Office who would like to speak on this item? Okay.
No, thank you, Madam Chair. Commander Manzanilla representing the Sheriff's Office. No, I just want to say thank you for the support, ongoing support that you always have with us with the Sheriff's Office, and of course to the staff that we have here. This is the current records and documents section for the Sheriff's Office. There's no one at the office right now doing any work, and they deserve this break more than you know. They do amazing work. As you know, law continues to change, and it's harder for us to keep not only track of all the things that we need to release and retain, but the amazing just detail that they pay every single day to accomplish their tasks. So on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, thank you for the support, and I know the ladies here are grateful for the support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I will go ahead and see if we want to pull it back up here to commissioners to make any comments. And when the sheriff arrives, we will certainly give him an opportunity. So are there commissioner comments?
I can.
Commissioner Williams?
You know, I think this is an important function of the Sheriff's Office. I think we also have Telecommunicators Week, which is the 911 group. But behind every sheriff and behind every case that you must follow and prosecution that we must make, you must have those detailed records. And so the records that you have to create and potentially could become a criminal case are very, very important. And they're very important to keep in a logical fashion. Having worked in a law office, that can be not always easy. And always be prepared in case one of them does end up going to trial. And so the work that you do as record keepers is very important in the justice system in our county. And I appreciate all that each and every one of you do. Thank you.
Commissioner Vanderwerf?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to also thank the team over there. Thank you. I think it's cool that you've totally vacated the office and that the leadership is saying you needed this 20-minute break. That's really neat. So I think it's wonderful that we're giving that opportunity for you all. But also to be serious, it is so important that we always have good, solid records. That's true everywhere, but also true in the Sheriff's Office. It's important that we have good records in our proceedings on this board so that that can become a matter of public record and can be preserved in history, but it's so important for the records that you keep as well. For whatever that reason is, either to preserve the activities in history or possibly for a future proceeding in a prosecution, whatever it is, those records are really, really important. So I just express my appreciation to every one of you for the great work that you continue to do, and I'm so glad that we were able to help you have a 20-minute break.
Vice Chair Bremer.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all for being here, and not just today, but showing up every day with our community's public safety in mind. I know that we could not assure our community of public safety without the work and the machine that is happening behind the scenes. So thank you very much. We fully recognize all of the personnel who work hard to ensure public safety in a way that most people wouldn't think of public safety. So you truly are servants to this community. I know that later this week, I believe several commissioners will be presenting certificates at your office, and that's our opportunity to talk one-on-one with you. And as we sign those certificates, Commissioner Geithner and I look at every single one of those names, and I think about what it is you do for our county. So thank you very much, and we'll look forward to a little bit of time with you later this week.
I would love if all of the folks that are here would come down and maybe just introduce yourself in front of the podium, in front of the microphone, and just so that we can put names and faces together, if you wouldn't mind.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I want to add that, for the public listening especially, and for you all to be aware that just like the Telecommunications Week, our dispatchers go through a lot of traumatic events, as they do their job. There's no difference here. Our records personnel, they don't only read, but now they see all the BWC and all the footage and all the critical incidents that we deal with on a daily basis. And they have to do it from their desk, as they're ingesting that information and making sure that we are doing our jobs and they're doing their job by releasing those documents the proper way. So they go through a lot. So it's definitely a lot more profound, the job that they do, especially nowadays. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Jill Whalen. Good morning, I'm Jen Harris, I'm the record supervisor.
Good morning, I'm Alicia Reed.
Good morning, I'm Braylon Wilkin.
Good morning, I'm Sandra Seifert.
Good morning, I'm Charlene Sewell.
Good morning, I'm Jessica Cannon.
Thank you so much. And I am scanning here. Do we have an update on the sheriff?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jeff Kramer, the undersheriff, clearly not the sheriff. He won't be able to make it over this morning, so I wanted to let you know that he got pulled to a different matter. He apologizes to the commission for not being able to make it, and to the record staff as well. I appreciate Commander Manzanilla stepping in also. I wanted to share just a couple comments on behalf of the sheriff. First of all, thanks to the commission for the proclamation, and to our record staff. They do phenomenal work, and the commander leaned into a bit of that. I've been with the office for a number of years, and I've seen the job of our records unit and those technicians grow over time. The scope of that work now is much different than it was when I was first writing reports as a young deputy some number of years ago. I bet some of the staff who've been around for almost as long as I have, they probably wish that we went back to those times of handwritten reports and cassette tapes with dictation on them and things like that. I think the world was much easier then in many ways. But now they handle so much more in terms of not only volume, but merging a number of different reports. The commander mentioned about BWC, also sealings and expungements that come over from the courts, which are huge in volume. as well as they're kind of the tip of the spear for us in many ways for CCJRA and Cora requests that come over as well, with being able to handle much of that workflow also. So their volume of work is tremendous, and they do a tremendous job in keeping up with that. We really couldn't do it without them. So on behalf of the sheriff and all the members of the office, we want to thank them and thank all of you for the efforts this morning. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you very much, Under Sheriff. We appreciate you being here and representing the office today. So with that, are there any additional comments from commissioners?
I was just going to say, you know, even their introductions were orderly and efficient.
Yes.
Very impressive.
In our tradition, we'll give Commissioner Gonzalez the last opportunity to make comments, but I do also want to say thank you for your tremendous work. This board has a huge responsibility to support public safety in our community. We take that very seriously, and we know that you are a very important part of that. So thank you for your daily work, which I know is not often the front and center public safety piece that so much of our community thinks about, but we know that you are the backbone and continue to make that work possible. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair, and I just want to highlight and thank you for all the great work. As you know, this board loves and supports our law enforcement, of which you are part of, and we just want to thank you for all the great work, and then even the explanation to the public here of how much more you're doing every year. It seems that more and more work is being put upon, you know, sometimes less and less people, but very important that the support of the public and this board and the entire county is behind you, and so thank you very much for all the great work you do.
Okay, with that, we will call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bremer. And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0, and we will take a brief recess for a photograph. We'll call this meeting back to order, and we are on item 6.
Item number 6 is the proclamation recognizing Veterans Day in the United States and Remembrance Day in Canada. Stan Vanderwerf, Commissioner, Board of County Commissioners.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I think we have a few folks in the audience here that maybe you could come up while I read the proclamation. There you go. Okay. Let me go ahead and proceed then. I'd like to make a motion to approve the proclamation recognizing Veterans Day in the United States and Remembrance Day in Canada. Whereas the 11th of November, 1918, marked the cessation of combat in what was then the most destructive and far-reaching war in history, and whereas following World War I, the Congress of the United States officially recognized that the recurring anniversary of this date, which would come to be known as Armistice Day, should be commemorated with Thanksgiving and prayer and exercises designed to perpetuate peace throughout goodwill and mutual understanding between nations. And whereas Congress amended its earlier legislation in 1954 by striking out the word armistice and inserting in its place the word veterans, thereby expressing its intent that November 11th should be a day to honor American veterans of all wars. And whereas the freedoms we enjoy today are protected by our men and women in the United States Armed Forces, these protectors of liberty put their lives on the line every day to safeguard our way of life. And whereas Canada, our neighbor, our partner in defense, and our trusted ally, honors its military on this day also and calls it Remembrance Day. And whereas families in both countries have stood by proudly as their sons, daughters, husbands, and wives answered the call of duty. And whereas we who have benefited from their many sacrifices are grateful and appreciative of their selfless efforts. And whereas more than 100,000 veterans and their families call the Pikes Peak region home, and all residents of El Paso County, Colorado should join in the pride and appreciation to all veterans. And whereas El Paso County Veterans Services has proudly served 72,293 veterans, surviving spouses, and their dependents in the past year. And whereas it is our privilege to also recognize the local veteran service organizations for their work in the community and their unwavering support of veterans and their families through the various programs they administer or sponsor. And whereas the men and women who have donned our nation's uniforms are America's greatest national treasure with their strength, bravery, and unbreakable resolve. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners recognizes November 11th, 2024 as Veterans Day in El Paso County and encourages all El Paso County citizens to honor and support our veterans by attending a parade or ceremony, volunteering at organizations that help veterans in need, donating to a veteran-focused nonprofit, supporting veteran-owned businesses, and flying the American flag at your home or business to show appreciation for veterans and their sacrifice. Done this 5th day of November 2024 at Colorado Springs, Colorado, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, signed Carrie Geithner, Chair, Cami Bremer, Vice Chair, Lejinos Gonzalez Jr., Stan Vanderwerf, and Holly Williams, members, and signed and attested to by Steve Schleicher, County Clerk and Recorder. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, that has been moved and seconded, and we have several guests with us here today. So I'll let you decide who would like to come forward first and introduce yourself.
They took 2 steps back. Not your first rodeo, huh? Kate Hatton with Homefront Military Network. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for what you do for our community's veterans. I'm the spouse of a veteran and support military service members, veterans, or their families in this community. We all work together. We've got 51 partner agencies who also support our military and veteran community. There's a lot going on here. It's a very military and veteran-friendly community, thanks to the work that you do, the work that the folks behind me do, and we're just grateful for the support of this community and look forward to continuing to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Good morning, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners. Thank you for having us here today, and thank you for this proclamation. It's always great to start off November with a proclamation to celebrate the veterans that have served our country. And we're celebrating very well in this county this year. We're going to have a parade this Saturday where we have a float in, so we'll be on that. We're going to kick off the Veteran of the Year on November 11th. We're going to post that so people can start nominating. And then the 19th through the 20th, or the 19th through the 21st, we're going to do a claims clinic again this year. in Colorado Springs at the National Guard Center. And all of this is possible because of the support from the county, the commissioners, the administration, and allowing us to see those 70,000 plus veterans and family members is because of the support this county provides each and every year. So I thank you for that. I'm going to introduce the 2023 Veteran of the Year, Joe Lewis.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Appreciate your service. And as we reflect on Veterans Day and think of the service of the veterans, also just like to highlight how this community is so veteran strong that the families we support, the families of those who've made the ultimate sacrifice, many of them choose this to be their home instead of going back to where they may have been from because of the environment that we have in this community. And when we think of veteran service, we think of what they did while they were in the military, but of course they continue on to be business owners, employees, county commissioners, directors of nonprofits and VA employees, and presidents. And so on this day, well, on the 11th, 70 years ago, when General Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, read the first Veterans Day proclamation, he was continuing in his service as a veteran as well. So thank you for everything that this community does for veterans. Thank you for letting me be here today.
Yes.
As you know, I'm Dr. Raymond Pettit. I'm pastor of Outside the Gates Worship Center. We are a ministry to the military. I was a military chaplain, I am now currently State Patrol chaplain, fire chaplain. I want to say on behalf of all the veterans and disabled veterans as I am, thank you. It's hard. Sometimes we don't know what to do, but by the grace of God, as a chaplain, I've spent many years just being able to pray one for another as I pray for you guys each week. And I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the veterans as well.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I think that's all the speakers that we have here today on this item. So I will bring it up to the dais here for comments. Commissioner Williams.
I am going to comment first because I am not the one with an actual immediate veteran in my family or a veteran themselves. I just wanted to say thank you to all of our veterans, all of the people that you have helped, Marshall. Thank you so much. I try to encourage individuals to come to your office. This year, I just wanted to keep my comments short. I wanted to thank my husband, who served in ROTC for 2 years at Brigham Young University, not long enough to actually qualify for any VA benefits. We asked, but he was Air Force, ROTC. I did not ask you. I think that it's because of the information we received. My dear father-in-law, who passed away 15 years ago, and we celebrated his birthday this week, was a Navy veteran. And I miss him very much. He was always the person who'd walk out with a pencil and paper, and it was most entertaining to watch him he was a civil engineer, and get into arguments with my husband over certain things. And the day we lost him was a very sad day, and we've missed him greatly. And then I just miss my dad so much. He was an Army veteran. He actually came through Camp Carson and for the Korean War. And I thank him for his service. I thank God that he came home alive and well. And that was the most important thing for me. So, because I got to have my dad for many years. And thank you to all of our veterans.
Vice Chair Bremer.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. I want to also thank our community for rallying around, and the Chamber of Commerce for rallying around and ensuring that our entire community can celebrate the veterans in this community this weekend at the parade. Kate, you mentioned 51 organizations, partner organizations, and yet at the same time, we also know that the complete need of our veteran community is not entirely fulfilled, and that it takes every single one of us identifying and knowing that, you know, we're working in and amongst heroes all the time. And many times, especially the older generations of them, they won't let you know that. And so I just appreciate the humility, the collaboration, and just the sentiment of this community of taking care of our own. Mr. Lewis, you mentioned that these veterans go on to serve in many places. We heard with our small business proclamation last week, we had several veteran small business owners represented here, and certainly we see the impacts on our community, and they're wide and far. But one of the things that your mention of it, in addition to the 2 commissioners that are veterans that I sit with, and 2 veteran spouses also, sitting on this board, I was thinking about all of the commissioners that came before us that also have a long history of service, and looking at the impacts that they continue to have on our community. And thank you for just helping me remember that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here in this very seat as well. So thank you for being here today. Honored to do this, and just delighted that our community rallied to make sure that the parade could happen.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So also thank everybody here, and always great to see heartfelt comments from fellow veterans and our community for supporting our veterans and all their families. This is a veteran community, a military community. Our 5 installations. So many of our veterans and retirees stay here, come back here. I like Commissioner Williams. My father did actually serve a couple years at, I guess it was Camp Carson back then. So starting some of the military history with him and my cousins that came before me, and just support and love for our country. And that's what I'd like to see. And as was mentioned by Commissioner Bremer, just the everybody coming together and rallying to save the Veterans Day Parade next week or this weekend. And so I'm looking forward to participating in that as well, and for the continued support for our great veteran and our veteran communities and families. Thank you.
I too want to say thank you for the tremendous support that you offer to our veterans and the amazing work. I am so glad when I read the headline about that parade, I thought, what a blow to the veterans of this community to think that this is not a priority for our community. And I'm so glad that it has been rescued, and looking forward to continuing that celebration. I always wish my husband a happy Veterans Day. And I think, to your point about service in the community, he has worked each one of those Veterans Days, and this year we'll be in DC, where he is working and participating in the culmination of the National Civics Bee. And I think that's very fitting. If there were a place to be working on Veterans Day for a veteran, I think participating in the National Civics Bee, where children from all over the United States are gathered to test their knowledge on civics in this nation. And so I am looking forward to hearing about that, and it gives me great hope that the veterans in our community continue to make sure that others around them are inspired by their service, understand the unique nature of our system here in America, and continue to preserve the patriotism that I think it continues to be incredibly important in our community. So with that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I do want to just thank everybody that's here today. And thank all the veterans that we have in our community. Just thank every veteran across the nation. I'm also a disabled veteran. It was really wonderful to hear you say, let's pray for all of them, and that you do pray for all of them every day in one capacity or another. I think that's just outstanding. I want to thank our Veteran of the Year. Thank you, sir, for being here. But what that also means is what you've done as a veteran, and what you're doing after you served in the community to help veterans. These are really wonderful things. I'm glad that we have our parade back on Saturday. I know we'll have a great participation. And to our Veterans Service Office, you helped 72,000 veterans, but you also helped their families. So double or triple that if you really want to get down to what you've really done as far as helping people in the community. And I want to talk a little bit about some people that I have known or people in my family that have also served. I did have an uncle. He's long past now, but he served as a tail gunner on a bomber in the Pacific. And he was lucky he came home without a scratch, but you never know. He was out there. He was committed. And then for my wife, she's actually a descendant of Thomas Nelson, who was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence and was the commander of the Virginia forces under General George Washington. He was leading the forces that attacked Lord Cornwallis at Yorktown. And he knew that and he was a wealthy gentleman at the time, but he was one of the financiers of the Revolutionary War, was almost penniless at the end of the war. And the house that Lord Cornwallis was in was his manor house that was in Yorktown, and he gave the order to his troops to bomb his own house. These are the sacrifices that veterans give. And all of these are really amazing stories. And then on Veterans Day, I also like to always thank a friend of mine that many years ago died in a V-22 training accident. It was the mishap that took place at the Marine Corps base, Quantico Marine Corps base. And he was a good friend of mine. He and I went to the same church, and we lost him in a training accident. And again, this is just a representation of the commitment that every veteran has. So we need to recognize them every year on Veterans Day. It's so important. And to thank them and to thank their families, to thank those that are no longer with us, to thank those that are still with us. And it was my honor to read the proclamation today. And those are the comments I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we are ready for a vote. So I will call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bremer.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. And we will take a brief recess for both a photograph and a comfort break. I'll call this meeting back to order, and we are on item 7.
Item number 7 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports. 7A, 2024 general election update. Steve Schleicher, clerk and recorder.
Good morning, commissioners. Happy Election Day. Big day ahead of us. Just want to come before you before I get back out there and visit many of our judges at our ballot boxes and also at our VSPCs. So a quick update. First and foremost, I just want to sit there and share with you something from one of our student judges. Her name is Sydney Gallagher, and she's serving as one of our student judges up in our ballot processing room. However, what she did is shared the importance of what Election Day is to her. And so Sydney is a junior at the Village High School here in Colorado Springs. She has shared with us her Voice of Democracy audio essay, which she thought we would all be interested in listening to here on our Election Day. Sydney recently completed this project to submit to the Veterans of Foreign Wars at our local Pikes Peak post under the prompt, Is America Today Our Forefathers' Vision? This is not Sydney's first essay on freedom and democracy, as she won a third-place entry in 8th grade, responding to What Freedom Means to Me by the Sertoma Club. Additionally, she created a film called The Psychological Revolution of World War II for National History Days as a sophomore, detailing the harm and danger presented to the minds of many men when imprisoned during wartime in the Pacific Theater. She won first place at the regional competition that took place locally and was honored to attend the state competition where she was presented with a Special Veterans Award by the Honor Bell Foundation. She also had the privilege of being invited to partake in the Library's Film Symposium this year, where she could share her video with the community. So if I may, Nancy, would you be able to hit that link? So this is actually Sydney discussing the overview of importance of Election Day. Right there it is.
The American dream lives on. Thomas Jefferson once noted, "If a nation expects to be ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be." In 1776, the founding fathers of America came together to declare the injustice weighing down their souls and revolt against the tyrannical ideals chaining them to a government they could not support. They aimed to establish a place of independence not only defined by freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but endless opportunities. In a victorious fight scarred by dust and blood, a broken but not defeated mankind looked to the Star-Spangled Banner and saw glory that shall never be silenced. From that day on, our fathers planted seeds, tenderly caring for the budding branches of democracy, where power is equally given to all people by the people. The truths they found self-evident are reflected in their moral obligation to restore dignity, stolen and deprived, to those who are persecuted and oppressed from every nation, culture, race, and religion. Building a natural foundation for mankind, an indivisible nation was scripted on rights to think, feel, and act without impending consequence or retribution. Our forefathers devoted themselves to a system that labors for its citizens, though can only function properly if change becomes inevitable in modern times to secure the hope of tomorrow, defend the peace of today, and write history to honor the past. The United States was, and forever will be, blossoming into the hope of humanity, where justice works for those who pursue it. Every day we commemorate the dream that is the United States of America, and it is better than our country's founders could ever have imagined. Liberty is the thirst of all people, never quenched by circumstance. During 1848, my family found themselves starved and penniless, deprived of the most basic human needs, forcing them to flee to the shores of the United States. Their new life was not without struggle, but this promised land brimmed with possibilities. I realized the hope, pure joy, and ambition they must have experienced now as they left their hardship behind them, embracing the assurance that every wish was now attainable. Recently, I had the privilege of observing a naturalization ceremony where the entire world sat in one room with diverse individuals united in their differences. The day had come for every single person to celebrate a taxing journey to become an American citizen, the greatest honor our nation can bestow. The courthouse was alive with excitement as each man or woman stood to tell their story and express their gratitude for the road that lay ahead. That day, I wondered what it was like for my ancestors, as I watched tears and smiles shine through crowds shouting, "God bless America." I understood why our democracy, a melting pot of society, shapes the passionate and patriotic spirit that lives in all of our hearts. We, the people, long for a voice to communicate and serve our country and community, contributing to the prosperity and general welfare of everyone. Although our population may not always agree on what is right, we each bring a unique perspective from all ends of the globe to enhance the formation of a more perfect union. From the abolition of slavery to women's suffrage, the United States was not one man's idea, leaving it a fitting title for a nation constantly progressing and evolving. The fathers of our homeland created an asylum for the lost, the shattered, and the exiled, so liberty may ring to all who listen. Freedom is the flame flickering it within the veins of our very being. We must never allow this light to be snuffed out into darkness. It has always been the ultimate duty of an American to protect, preserve, and persevere through every trial that attacks our coasts. Each one of us is called upon to safeguard the valor and virtue of our nation, no matter the cost. Whether in uniform or with a ballot in hand, it takes courage to speak up and defend your beliefs, requiring sacrifice to pursue the reformation necessary to improve reality. Our forefathers knew that the cornerstone of freedom needed to be protected, not by one person, but several, especially evident in the terrorist attacks of 9/11/2001. This day, forever stamped in our calendars, marks not only a significant tragedy, but a time when Americans were unified in their desire to protect the land of the free from the corruption threatening to tear it apart. Out of the ashes and smoke, thousands of people were stranded in lower Manhattan, crying for help as their only escape was by water. The Coast Guard, not having enough ships to support the masses, urgently sent messages to civilian boats to aid in the desperate evacuation. Everyone who could assist did, with hundreds of vessels appearing and floating almost 500,000 fearful individuals to safety, the largest water evacuation in American history. Resilience dwells in our bones as we all aspire to move forward together with no man left behind. The Founding Fathers of the United States structured our very livelihood around the traits that make us human and pan our democracy. I would say they did more than an exceptional job, which is why I am proud to be an American.
So commissioners, that actually makes me choke up. This is from a junior in high school here in our local community of what Election Day means to this young lady. And it was an honor for me to sit there and work alongside her yesterday. It was an honor, and I was humbled that she felt confident in sharing this with me, and I asked her if I could share it with you. I have never heard something more special of what it means to be an American on Election Day, which is a very special day to many. So if you'd like to meet Sydney, she's up there processing thousands upon thousands of ballots. She has a huge smile up there, working right there along the Agilis machine. She's probably going to be pulling some late hours along with us tonight, but it's absolutely amazing where a high school student has that much feeling for what we are as Americans. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and just share with you the summary of our goals. As you all know, my goals throughout the last 2 years working towards this day is to ensure a secure, transparent, and efficient voting for all eligible voters in El Paso County. So we have concentrated on cybersecurity, physical security, and chain of custody. The cybersecurity, updating the security protocols, I will share with you. As we all know that El Paso County, my elections department, we had 8 machines where the BIOS passwords were absolutely out there from the Secretary of State's office. I have shared with the media and shared with many voters throughout the entire state in regards to this. One of the things is I am so thankful for each one of you, thankful for Nikki Simmons, and also thankful for Brett Waters, because we have made many changes here in El Paso County in our elections department where we have become the leader in the state. I was not concerned about the cybersecurity, and here is why. All of that equipment that had any kind of outside network or any kind of internet capability was removed. We replaced it with tabulation machines that have no network interface cards, no ISPs, no modems, and no wireless cards whatsoever. So there is absolutely zero chance of hooking up to an outside network and all to the internet as well. The other thing is when you sit there and look at the cybersecurity piece, is moving on to the physical security. As you all have toured and been in the Citizen Service Center, it is nearly impossible to gain access to any of these rooms. They are under 24/7 video surveillance. They also have cipher locks, co-key locks, and they also have card readers, and also each one of those rooms are alarmed. In addition to that is our amazing security staff run by our sheriff patrols those rooms. They are in there and by there every 15 minutes. Each one of these things on the cybersecurity side and also on the physical security side, they build logs. If anybody logs into these systems, there is a log that is generated. In addition to that is we have taken it one step further, is all of our central processing units for our tabulation equipment is locked in their own individual locker. The judges don't even have access to this to turn the machines on. Also the ports where you put a pigtail or a thumb drive all have port locks. This is not required in statute or Secretary of State rules. These are things that we have done above and beyond statute and Secretary of State rules. So with that being said, it is nearly impossible to get into these rooms. And if needed, after we are done with the election, I can pull the logs on the physical security and also on the biosecurity as well. for anybody that wants that information to see how the security here in El Paso County has been. The chain of custody, ballot integrity, I think you all can see that firsthand. We have a lot of judges down here at Centennial Hall that are operating at VSPC and also out in front working our ballot box. But everything is done in bipartisan teams. You will not see two Democrats together. You will not see two Republicans together or two unaffiliated. We have party separation where we have a Republican and a Democrat, or Democrat and a bipartisan, unaffiliated, but every measure, everything done in the election process is done by bipartisan judges. So I want to apologize ahead of time. Is right now our numbers are changing dramatically, and these numbers were as of 9 a.m. yesterday. And commissioners, we received over 54,000 ballots yesterday that are not reflected in this total. We are going to see double the amount today. So if I could, I'll just pull up my little website here and let you know. Registration as of this morning, 496,674. So we went up just shy of 2,000 registrations here in El Paso County in just a matter of 24 hours. In addition to that, voter turnout is we have now surpassed 300,321. So right now we're sitting here looking at, that is a big number compared to what we had yesterday morning at this time. So we are seeing significant turnout. We are above 60%, and we're definitely looking at seeing a very large turnout today. We're going to probably see double those numbers.
If I could ask a question. Oh, I hope I didn't forget the question. I think I just forgot the question. It must be election day, right? A comment. We have so many voter service polling centers, and we're required by law to have that many. Can I just say it is so exciting to see our election judges here in Centennial, how busy. They are patient, they are wonderful, they've been here for 2 weeks, and they are loving every minute of it right now. They love to be busy, and so I just encourage everybody to come, and if not at Citizen Service Center, come down to Centennial Hall and vote. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. They are doing an amazing job. I try to go and visit them as often as I can. Just for some statistics, is it in person, the Citizen Service Center saw over 535 in-person voters alone yesterday. They were very busy. A lot of our VSPCs saw record turnouts, and we're definitely going to be seeing that today. So as you can see, just in one day, we went up nearly 11% in voter turnout, and we are going to see that again today, a significant amount. So again, it's just one of those things where I want to thank Mother Nature, where they're giving us a good, she's giving us 14, 16 hours gap before the next snowstorm comes in, because I'm worried about the folks that are out there at the ballot boxes, the VSPC centers out in Calhoun, way out east, driving in and stuff. But I'm glad that the snow is going to hold off, that we could wrap up Election Day. So as Commissioner Williams shared, is we have 38 vote centers. We successfully opened up an additional 14 yesterday. Everything went exceptionally well. Staffing and support is I try to keep my finger on the pulse. I started seeing some of our judges getting tired because we are seeing record turnout of in-person voters. In addition, as I recognize the safety concern. So as you know, by statute, we have to use our motor vehicle branches as a VSPC center. And I got very concerned regarding our powers and also our UTC. We were having more voters than we were having motor vehicle customers, and people were sitting on the floors. My staff couldn't go to the bathroom. They were standing in the aisleways. Folks were lined up down the stairs at Powers. They were interacting with the driver's license. So the executive decision that I made, and seeing that the judges were tired as well, and also for safety concerns, is I shut down motor vehicle operations here in all of El Paso County. This office has historically done that as well in a presidential election for Monday and Tuesday. So basically, we have dedicated those facilities strictly for voting. And then what I did is redeployed all of my motor vehicle staff, over 95 of them, to assist our judges in all of the VSPCs yesterday and today. And it has come as a huge welcome to our site coordinators, because they're sitting there. These are individuals that are used to very large crowds each and every day. They're used to, any kind of conflict resolution, which, believe it or not, we haven't had any. Things are going exceptionally well here in El Paso County. So we went ahead and did that, and we will be opening our offices back up for motor vehicle and DL services tomorrow morning. Hours of operation, we are open. I extended hours yesterday. Historically, we are open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., but I opened yesterday because knowing the turnout from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and we're going to do the same today. As mentioned, is my staff, motor vehicle DL staff, were helping with crowd and also line management. This evening, when the polls close, I want to thank every municipality. They will be helping us this evening. Is at 7 p.m. Many of our local law enforcement agencies will position deputies or CSPD or Monument. Our law enforcement, they will position a uniformed officer at the very end of the line at 7 p.m. And they will also put a squad car at our ballot drop boxes to mark. That is the very last one as we sit there and as the polls close. So the timeline for counting ballots, Commissioners, I couldn't be more proud. We had a lot of ballots coming in yesterday, and we actually got through every single one of those ballots. Last night, we went through signature verification. We left out of the office about 11 p.m., and I was concerned, but that team and the judges, we actually came in today with a clean desk. So we are ready to rock and roll with all the ballots going into Election Day here. Auditing and verification. So we are going to be doing a lot of post-election audits, and I will share with you going down is I'm also going to be adding some additional layers to our risk limiting audit and how results are verified. What I'm going to be doing, and this is part of the matter with the BIOS password, is I'm going to be reaching out to both of our major parties. I'm going to allow them to come on in and pick 2 races they want to audit themselves. In addition to that, I'm going to allow them to pick 1% of the total ballots cast for that particular race. We will tabulate those votes no differently that we do on the logic and accuracy test in the machines, and allow them to also hand count. So I am combining the risk limiting audit with the logic and accuracy test as well. So ballot anomalies, as you probably read in the paper, is we did have to reach out to Hazmat, and we have done it twice. One person put an electronic device in their ballot, and it was caught by our Gillis machine. So if anything is beyond the thickness of a ballot, that machine will shut down automatically and bring everything to a complete halt. So we have been training for this and practicing this for quite some time. So we were of the belief, and still am, that it was a GPS tracker that was in that ballot. We called Hazmat. They did everything. They tested it, took it in a vial, and this voter was actually visited by CSPD, ticketed, and being charged with a misdemeanor. We had to do the same thing on Saturday. There was a capsule in the bottom of the ballot. The machine shut down, and so we have no idea what was inside the capsule, but we did all of the tests. So nothing came back positive or anything like that, but the same thing is going on at this time. So those are some of the anomalies that we've seen here. We did have one ballot that was coated in urine. So we basically have taken that, but one of the things is the staff and the judges will never complain, because although the biohazard concerns is we still have to count that vote. So those are things that we have reached out to CSPD, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, and these are individuals that are going to be visited by CSPD and ticketed and charged with a misdemeanor. I already went ahead and just shared that with you guys. All the safety protocols have been handled, and as I shared the legal follow-up, I will be discussing these matters once we finish up the election with our district attorney. The other thing, as far as accessibility provisions going into Election Day today, is if folks with a disability want to sit there and use our ICX machines, you know, in person, please go to any of the 38 in-person vote centers. There's also language assistance. So if individuals, you know, cannot comprehend, understand, or speak English, we have devices that will actually help them out, and they can have a great conversation with the judges. And there's also hotlines and support services. So I have a team of judges that are on the phones that are there to assist throughout the election night. And also the Secretary of State's office has a hotline for those that cannot speak or interpret English. So real-time updates. This is what the community is wanting. Right now, we are looking at pushing election night results out at 8 p.m. Historically, they've been 7:30. However, we cannot push out election night results until the last person at our VSPCs or at our ballot boxes has cast their ballot. So this morning, I directed all my site coordinators. I want half-hour updates from 6 p.m. leading all the way up through 8 p.m. of how many voters we still have in line, because we're going to have a lot of media out at our ballot boxes, also at our VSPCs. But once we get the last voter through, we will start pushing out election night results and pushing those out every hour and a half after that. Media relations and public messaging. We have a lot of national media that is already at CSC. They've been there, and they will be there most of the night, and also our local media. And also, we have a lot of observers and stakeholders that have been in our rooms, and they have absolutely been amazing. You know, historically, a lot of watchers or observers, they get involved in the process and just asking the judges too many questions, things like that, and just, you know, stopping the whole entire process. The watchers and the observers for both major parties have absolutely been amazing. They have learned a lot, and I will be sharing with you some of the compliments that some of these observers have shared from both parties of what they think about the process. So as I shared, is the post-election plan is we're going to debrief and look at improvements. Is you learn something new from each and every election. And most certainly with this one, is we're also going to look at the ballot reconciliation and certification and reach out to the public and get their feedback, what their thoughts were in regards to the VSPCs, the 3 additional ballot boxes that we have put here in the community and things like that. But I feel that the voters should also have a say in regards to how they feel their election here in El Paso County went. In closing, thus far, and I'm hoping all the way through tonight, is every one of our voters, staff, and our judges basically see a smooth, secure, and transparent election, and we all just have a great time when we're casting our votes. But as of now, it has been absolutely amazing up there in your clerk and recorder's office, and things are going exceptionally well. Are there any questions?
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, I just wanted to thank you and your staff, but as well as the 800 election judges, the many, many police officers and sheriff deputies, and the poll observers as well. I was a poll watcher once. It was somewhat boring in all honesty, but it wasn't a presidential election, but you have specific rules you have to follow. And so the fact that they've been all amazing is just wonderful. So thank you for the excellent job that you have done, and good luck tonight. We're looking forward to seeing some results at some point.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you so much.
Have a great day, Commissioners.
Okay. With that, we will, I'll just make sure that there is no other countywide elected official online. I don't see any here in the room, so we'll bring it up here, starting with Commissioner Williams.
Yes, happy Election Day. Please get out and vote. I just wanted to share my calendar. From 2 to 3 p.m., if anyone has a chance, I don't know as if I will be able to, is the swearing in of the new district attorneys. An attorney only goes through a swearing in once in a lifetime. It's an amazing thing to be a part of. And I don't know when my husband did it. They just did one at a time. I don't know as if they're going to do a whole group or if they just are going to do them one at a time. But congratulations to the many new attorneys who have passed their bar exam. I have several meetings tomorrow, and on Thursday we have the Statewide Transportation Advisory Commission. And Friday, I have a Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments Board meeting. Saturday, I'm unable to attend the Veterans Day VIP reception as I'm speaking to the Northern El Paso County Group of Homeowners Associations. Thank you.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to remind everybody on this Saturday, we have the Veterans Day Parade. I look forward to seeing you there. I plan on being there. And also tomorrow evening, I do plan on attending the Chamber Business After Hours event. That's at Falcon Stadium. Also, I just want to remind everybody, and just following the lead of Commissioner Williams, please get out and vote. It's so important. It's your constitutional right, and it's really important to vote. And then I do have one last comment. I'll just like to align myself with the clerk and recorders of the state of Colorado and ask, after the latest debacle, plus the fact that she keeps criticizing one of the presidential candidates, that Jenna Griswold step down and resign. Thank you.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Of course, want to start off and say, hope everyone has voted or will vote later today. Let your voice be heard. That's how you get your voice heard here in our great country. We'll also attend the Chamber of Commerce meet and greet tomorrow evening, as was mentioned. Mount Carmel's Hoedown for Heroes is this Friday evening, so I'll be doing that. A great fundraiser for Veterans Services. Saturday, Veterans Day Parade as well, I'll be attending. And then, of course, wanted to wish a great Veterans Day to everybody this coming week. I, too, wanted to address the leaking of the BIOS passwords on the internet, as was mentioned by the Secretary of State's office. Basically, through her 2 terms thus far, Jenna Griswold continues to show her bias and incompetence. And unfortunately, it continues to undermine the credibility of the Secretary of State's office and our elections. Luckily, our local clerks and recorders have done an excellent job of updating and making sure that our elections are secure, so that people in El Paso County can still be confident that your votes will be counted properly. The egregious issue that I have related to the passwords leak is that it appears Ms. Griswold got caught trying to keep the leak hidden from the public and from the clerks themselves several days before they even found out. And I even read in the paper that Governor Polis says he found out about the leak not from Jenna Griswold herself, but in the media. That's why I, too, will support our clerk and recorder's call for Jenna to step down from her position due to her continued undermining of the office. Thank you.
Vice Chair Bremer.
Thank you. Yes, happy Election Day to everyone. And I am, as you have just heard, very confident in the way our clerk and recorder's office is run. I'm grateful for dedicated employees, dedicated election judges, and they're working really hard to protect the integrity of those elections here in El Paso County. And I know that El Paso County voters can be confident in that. I wanted to mention just a few things that haven't been mentioned yet. In addition to the Veterans Day Parade, so if you want a really busy Saturday morning, you could attend our Parks and Recreation Department Bear Run at 10 a.m. at Bear Creek Park, and then make it down to downtown for the Veterans Day Parade by 11. I'm trying to decide if I can do both of those myself. But certainly a lot of fun things going on for another beautiful fall weekend, and grateful that, again, this community pulled off a celebration for our veterans, and just huge thanks to the business community, the sponsors who really made that happen. I couldn't be prouder of my community for recognizing that. I will also not be present next week, so paying attention and keeping things running. If needed, I can call in remotely, but I am counting on being out next week, and look forward to jumping right into our budget here and continuing down that process.
I'm just going to keep my comments short here as well. I do appreciate my colleagues mentioning the concern over the Secretary of State's lack of security around the BIOS passwords. That is incredibly concerning. And I think there is a bipartisan call for accountability on this particular incident, but the string of incidents, quite frankly, that have plagued her office over the last several years. So I appreciate the attention on that. Otherwise, I'm just going to say, vote, get out and vote. Don't wait till the last minute. And God bless America. Okay, we are on to item 8.
Item number 8 is community service organization reports, and there are none.
Item 9.
Item number 9 is public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda. This is the public's opportunity to speak on an item that is not scheduled on today's agenda. And Madam Chair, I'm unaware of anyone signing in ahead of time to speak, but I am aware that we do have one public comment via telephone that will be called in.
Okay, and is that person online and ready to go? Let's go ahead and go to that individual first, since they're waiting online.
Yep. Is that me? Hello?
Good morning. You are live in the Board of County Commissioners meeting, and you do have 3 minutes to speak. If you would state your name for the record, and we will hear your comments.
All right. Hello. My name is Jesse Profit, and I am a resident of Colorado Springs. I am here today to speak again on the killing of Anthony Padilla and call on the board to initiate an independent investigation into the El Paso County Sheriff's Office by any means. Let me reiterate what happened. Self-proclaimed vigilante Kevin McCarthy had stalked around Anthony's apartment complex for months with a rifle, taking photos of Anthony. He had garnered a reputation with the sheriff's office for his vigilante streak, earning the nickname Deputy D-Head. When Kevin confronted Anthony in the laundromat, he recorded the encounter on his phone as he trapped Anthony inside a small room in the laundromat. He called the dispatcher, who told him to disengage, and he did not disengage. He instead told the dispatcher to make sure they know I'm white. When Anthony escaped that room and ran out of the laundromat, Kevin followed him outside and shot him in the back. The sheriff deputies arrived a couple minutes later and were able to hear directly from Anthony what happened, that Kevin had shot him. They saw him bleeding on the ground, but they did nothing for Anthony for 6 minutes while he lay there bleeding to death, begging for help. Imagine a bleeding man before you taking their 3 minutes to beg you to help them. Imagine them doing that twice. When Deputy Dave finally intervened, he effectively helped kill Anthony by doing chest compressions without applying a tourniquet. No one was charged for any of this. The district attorney put together a grand jury where he, Michael Allen, didn't show any of this evidence, and the killer was given back his weapon and sent on his way. I want to end by addressing Mr. Gonzalez directly. Last week, when we spoke here, you commented that the family should release the footage to the public. I do not see why that is necessary when you have community members and the family coming directly to you here, presenting these horrifying facts and asking for your help. Injustice has been done to a member of your district's community on 3 different levels. That should alarm you. Thank you. Justice for Anthony.
Thank you. Okay, so if you, it looks like we have a few others here to speak. It looks like maybe you've already signed in. So if you want to just come forward and state your name for the record, if you've already signed in, that's just fine. Thank you.
Sherry Padilla. I'm Anthony Padilla's mom. Anthony was 37 years old when he was murdered at his apartment complex community laundry room. Anthony was a father of two, Jalen 18 and Anthony Jr. 15. Anthony was a good guy, a hard worker, and my gentle giant, always making jokes. Anthony had a good heart and was a good soul. But what I miss most are his hugs and his I love yous. I want to set the record straight. Anthony wasn't burglarizing like stated by his killers. We have eyewitnesses that stated after shooting Anthony, Kevin is seen leaving with a backpack over his shoulder. Anthony's jewelry, money, and backpack were never found. When I heard Anthony's voice on the video, Anthony knew this man had a gun from past experiences with Kevin. Anthony was scared. I could hear it in his voice. Anthony never threatened Kevin. Anthony didn't raise his voice. In fact, Kevin McCarthy was the only threat that night. When deputies came on scene, they are heard saying, "He did it. He finally did it." Deputy Dick finally killed someone. Kevin McCarthy stalked and harassed Anthony and many others at this apartment complex. He would march around with his weapon strapped to his back. Pictures were found in Kevin's phone of Anthony dating up to a year prior. Kevin McCarthy made the call to 911 and he states to dispatch, "Please make sure help knows I'm white," as if he is calling for a cleanup crew. That statement later proved to be fatal for Anthony. For 6 minutes, Anthony begged for his life. "Please help me. You didn't have to shoot me. He had no right to do this. Why'd you shoot me?" But the most horrific and heartbreaking was when Anthony realized that they weren't there to help him. They were treating the shooter and robber like a hero, calling Kevin brother while my son was left dying, begging for his life. Deputies Day and Deputy Jaworski came in and started CPR with no tourniquet, pumping the life out of Anthony. He didn't have a chance. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Brandon Rincon with the Colorado Springs People's Coalition. I'm speaking 589 days after the murder of Anthony Padilla. 589 days of questions of why did this happen? This didn't have to happen. What's going to be done about this? 589 days, the killer Kevin McCarthy has been free. He fled the state of Colorado. He went to Florida, then came back. He now lives in Fountain. We have a dangerous murderer living amongst us who stalks and harasses people who look like me. This is unacceptable. This is extremely dangerous. And I really hope that you all recognize the kind of culture that is being brewed in El Paso County, not only from our sheriff's department, but also from the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office. Now, I know that 2 of y'all are going to be gone after this election, and so we'll have new faces to struggle out with, new faces to learn their position, new faces maybe to find unity with, to make sure that justice is served. Because 589 days is too many days for nothing to happen.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on an item not on the agenda? Sir.
I'm Chaplain Raymond Pettit. I'm also a pastor and a cook. That's chef, as some call me. We have here in El Paso County, I want to give shout outs to Outside the Gates Worship Center and Fountain United Methodist Church. We have teamed for the last 3 years on Friday nights from 5 to 6, and I encourage any one of you that have the ability to come to First United Methodist Church and eat with us. We feed the community. It is a community kitchen. It's our opportunity to be able to share with all the community. It's no cost to anybody. It's open to everybody. On the Thursday prior to Thanksgiving, we will be having a community Thanksgiving dinner. Again, it's open to all community members. I say this because I want our community to know we do care. So on Friday nights at 4 o'clock, we do this every Friday night. We won't do it on the Friday after this or the Friday after Christmas, but it's only because we need a break too. But we wanted the opportunity to share it with all of the community here in El Paso County. South Fountain is doing our part. We want to make sure that everyone understands that. That's all, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see anyone else moving forward to speak on an item not on the agenda, and I'm just double checking we don't have anyone else online. Okay, we've already done item 10, so we are on item 11.
Item number 11 is department and committee reports, non-action items. 11A, 2025 budget hearing number 4, original adopted budget, final direction by the Board of County Commissioners. Nikki Simmons, Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nikki Simmons, Chief Financial Officer. We are here today to do the final direction hearing for your 2025 original adopted budget. As a reminder, this is a non-action item today. This is just to get final direction from the Board of County Commissioners regarding the budget for 2025. So what we're going to do today is look at the spreadsheet and the critical needs that were presented to the board. You've received presentations on all of these items, either from myself or from the departments and offices requesting the item. And we will accept changes today. As there's no action, there's no official vote, but what I'll ask for is if a commissioner has direction, then I'll look for at least 2 other commissioners who would like that to be in the final budget. And then we'll be bringing back that final budget on December 10th for approval. This is the same spreadsheet we have seen before through this process, and I'm going to make it as big as I can up here. One caveat or one change that staff has made, this line here that has the elected official statutory pay increase as well as the district attorney's pay increase, that number has changed since the last time you saw this spreadsheet. And that just has to do with a change in, we initially budgeted for 4 commissioner changes statutorily, and as it turns out, we'll only need to do 3 as the change with Commissioner Bremer's seat would not come with a pay change. And so that line has changed. In addition to that, I would like to talk to the DA pay increase that is in the budget. We won't be taking actual action on that item until that is planned for the November 19th Board of County Commissioner hearing. And so we would take direction during that officially on November 19th. And whatever the results of that vote is what we would include in the final budget. So right now there's a placeholder for an amount, but whatever is decided on that date would be what is actually included in the budget for next year. So with that, that is everything I have. We don't have any other proposed changes to the budget from staff.
And do we consider the final budget on December 10th?
Correct. December
Okay.
10th will be the vote on the final budget. So we'll take direction from today on all of these items. If the commissioners would like to make any changes, we'll also take direction through the vote from the DA pay increase on November 19th. And then we'll take both of those and create the final budget for December 10th approval.
Okay, is there any feedback from commissioners? Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the fund balance, is that what we consider the emergency reserves, or is that different?
No, that's completely different. This would not dip into emergency reserves at all. This is what we consider our available fund balance above the amounts that I talked to during my preliminary balanced budget presentation. So this would still leave the 9.23 million in the emergency reserve, as well as a 24.3% unrestricted reserve. And this is what's left as spendable money.
Okay, and then sometimes on the bottom, there's like math if we were to do a one-time spending, or if we're doing a continued, there'd be some, negatives over the future. Was everything that is possible in there for the budget allocated back to the reserves to get it to the 9.2?
Correct.
So there's no really any.
Correct. We basically, this budget has all the spendable fund balance being spent over the next, the 5-year forecast period. The 2029 ending assumed fund balance, if everything stuck to 100% to projections, which we know is not the case, we would have to dip into that 24.3% fund balance by $67,000. And that is a very tiny percentage compared to the overall budget for the next 5 years. So that's not a concern. Our only legal statutory requirement is that this year, 2025's ending fund balance is a positive number.
Okay, nope. I think that's all I have. Great job. I wish that number was smaller. No, just kidding. Thank you.
Okay, any additional comments or direction from commissioners? I think the fact that there is no new direction today is just a testament to the incredible amount of work that has gone into this budget over many, many months from both you and your team and our county administrator. So I'm pleased to see that we are in a place where we all seem to be very comfortable with the budget going into those final decisions to a little bit down the road here. So I'll just ask one more time, any additional comments or questions?
Just impressively well done to your entire staff and to the county administration and to the elected officials who came to the table to figure out, what the priorities were that aligned with the priorities overall of the county. Greatly appreciate their ability to work together on that.
Any additional comments, Ms. Simmons?
No comments from me.
Okay, fantastic. With that, we will move on to item 12.
Item number 12 is the addendum, and there are no addendums today.
Item 13.
Item number 13 is the executive session. 13A, executive session pursuant to CRS 246402 4A, 4B, and 4E regarding real estate known as the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department located at 2880 International Circle, Colorado Springs, Colorado 80910 to address the following: the acquisition or modification of real property interest, conference with the county attorney's office for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators. Kenneth Hodges, County Attorney, and Cole Emmons, Special Counsel to the County Attorney's Office.
I move we go into executive session for the purposes stated on the record.
I'll second.
That's been moved and seconded. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf?
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Aye.
Vice Chair Bremer? And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0, and we will adjourn to an executive. Well, I should say we will head to our executive session and return here before the end of the meeting.